More issues for Maine Senate candidate Graham Platner. Just last week, several past Reddit posts made by Platner were uncovered, apparently disparaging cops as well as black diners and disabled people. And on top of that, he was accused of getting a tattoo depicting Nazi iconography.
Now, according to Axios, Platner's campaign manager says that he's stepping down, the campaign manager, just after a few days on the job. Platner's longtime friend Kevin Brown took over the role last week after Platner's former political director departed the campaign due to the former posts. But now Brown is also out, writing in a statement to Axios, Graham is a dear friend. I started this campaign Tuesday, but found out Friday we have a baby on the way. Graham deserves someone who's 100% in on his race, and we want to lean into this new experience as a family, so it was best we step back sooner than later so Graham can get the manager that he deserves.
Meantime, Platner has apologized for the posts and has covered up the controversial tattoo. And despite all the campaign turmoil, his allies in D.C., chief among them, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, have stood by him. Take a listen.
I'm not overly impressed by a squad of media running around saying, "What do you think about the tattoo on Graham Platner's chest?" Between you and me, there might be one or two more important issues. He said things that are stupid, things that were hurtful. He has apologized for them. And what he says now, and the guy that I saw up on the stage in Portland, Maine, rather a brilliant guy. I mean, really a strong fighter for the working class, very articulate, very smart.
I love Bernie, but the statement, the guy that I saw up on the stage, the guy that you see in any campaign season, I don't care if it's Obama or Trump, is the ideal version of the man that they might actually be when they take on the role that they actually get. And so when you have Platner, who is literally showed multiple ways that he is who he is, somebody who, you don't care as much as I do about the Reddit posts and the disparaging remarks, but somebody who has this tattoo and doesn't even have the mental clarity to try to clear it up, even though he's reportedly mentioned that he understood what it was to a friend.
Well, that was the really damning part of it, because I get, when people say Nazi tattoo, you assume it's a swastika. It's a skull and crossbones, which could
easily be misconstrued, possibly.
But also a pirate thing. Yes. Now, he has the version of it that's the Nazi version, not the pirate version. But he said he was drunk in Croatia. Who among us hasn't,
been drunk in Croatia? I haven't had the opportunity.
Parlor and gotten a bizarre tattoo. I'm just kidding. I've said I don't have any tattoos. So he didn't know what it was. I'm believing the story up until that point. But then we have, this was 20 years ago, and people have said that he's called it his Totenkopf, which means you understand the Nazi part of it. Now, so he should have covered it up some point in the last 20 years. He covered it up now. The new tattoo is uglier, actually.
I didn't see it.
It's much uglier. And then there's the Reddit post. Look, I don't really care. As you said, I don't pro-clutch very much over these things. He's a leftist, socialist type person, is not my ideology anyway. Janet Mills or whoever they're going to run, some very, very old person, is also very unexciting and off-putting to me. So this is kind of a Democrats' mess. I don't know what I would advise them to do. I usually have very strong views on how I would advise Democrats to handle something if I were a Democrat. I don't really know here, because the alternative is not great, and he did have a little bit of charisma, but these posts kind of suggest bad judgment. But I also don't want to just doom everyone who said something uncomfortable online a long time ago, because then we're just going to get really boring Mitt Romney types who've been running to be your senator since the third grade.
I like Mitt Romney quite a bit.
I like him, but who have like a sociopathic level of cleanliness in terms of exactly.
So this is the thing. So don't you understand? I mean, you and
Lindsay.
Yeah, Trump is too real. So don't you understand that if you're getting into politics for the most part, let's say, like you said, he got the tattoo 20 years ago. So this might have crossed your mind, let's say 5 years ago, and now he's jumping into politics, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're in the game, you understand that politics is like recreational, pull your skeletons out of the closet. No pun intended to that tattoo.
I know.
It's literally, you understand that. So if you know that you have a tattoo and you've insinuated reportedly to anybody that tattoo is wildly offensive, you wouldn't cross your mind, it wouldn't cross Graham's mind to get it covered up prior to somebody that's a reporter catching that you have a tattoo that's wildly offensive. That to me just clear is a poor lack of judgment. That's
wildly
that's
offensive
poor
in certain context.
Okay, he has no credibility, and so he has no accountability now. Like, oh, I didn't realize. It's like, that's not a good response. And so when somebody is leading you, don't you want them to have some of those characteristics that he makes good judgment calls. He's leading this place. Like, that's just something that's like a bare minimum. And so Bernie Sanders, as honorable as Bernie Sanders is to me much of the time, and as much as he sticks to his guns, if he's going off what he sees right now, to me, that's always the problem with these politicians. And why we agree about politicians. They will say anything on the campaign trail to get the votes that they need.
Well,
but then they do something differently. And that's why we have Congress that's just sitting there, and that we both can agree that we're not a fan of, that most of America actually in recent polling agrees that they don't really love. It's because people say too much on the campaign trail and don't really plan on honoring it, and don't actually turn out to be the person that they campaign to be. And so to me, that's a red flag. And there's a big argument within the Democratic Party right now.
How old the other choice?
Yes, that's why I said there's a big...
would be the oldest freshman senator ever at the age of 79.
President Trump was the oldest inaugurated president ever. And yes, he was 78 like Biden, but he was 78 in more months when he was inaugurated the second time, and Biden was less months.
I don't think that's great. And
that's not great. It's not great that our president is the oldest inaugurated currently. But yes, I know that there's a friction within the Democratic Party. There's one that's like once the classic candidate that's been around for years and doing the same old, and then there's a whole argument. It's like the Cuomo-Mamdani thing happening, right? Except that obviously Graham Platner is not like Mamdani in many ways, but like there's just a young and an old candidate. And a lot of the young people are going one person, and the older people are going with people that are more like of what they expect it to be, and going to give them, like Cuomo is, what they expect to see of the bureaucracy. So that's a bigger issue, but we can't pretend just because it's not ideal timing that we should skip over what Graham Platner got going on. His campaign manager did not leave to go take care of his family. He probably left because his wife was like, this is some nonsense, stop playing games, get out of that thing. Okay, that's my assumption. I only can assume, but I don't think that at this time a campaign manager leaves literally as you may or may not enter into a really hectic season. An election day. I don't think that's a good time for your campaign manager to step away.
Way up still in the polls. I checked the polls. This hasn't registered for Maine voters that he's involved in these kind of controversies.
And I get upset with Republicans when things don't register when Republicans are involved in controversies. I've actually thought that recently the Republican Party has done a good job, specifically with Paul, the Trump nominee, Paul Ingracia's.
They killed that one.
Yeah, so that's what I like. I like to see that. So I'm asking Democrats to do the same thing. All right, you're going to have to get the old guy. I'm sorry. You got to get the old person. You're going to have to deal with the old person to get rid of the new person that may or may not be deeply offensive.
I don't want to do that. I don't want more old people in government. Honestly, I think I feel more strongly that I don't want more old people in government than I don't want someone who has a really bad and kind of offensive tattoo, honestly. Even though he is more, I think, further left than she is, I just don't want more old people in government. There's too many of them. It's a national security issue. They don't understand.
It's a national security issue?
Well, yes, because they have to weigh in. They have to craft legislation relating to
You care about people who bash police?
They have to craft legislation. The most important legislation that's going to come out in the future is going to be on tech and AI and those subjects, and they don't understand it. They're too old. Love our grandparents. Our grandparents and our great-grandparents don't have a natural grasp of these new technologies that we're going to have to craft rules and regulations around. I would trust a person 40 years younger tthan that just instinctively more.
Well, just to let you know,
I can't go for another old person.
Well, my grandma Ida is on Instagram and X, and I'm about to tell her to get all over your timeline, talking smack. She's about to be 90, and she's moving and shaking on there.
My grandmother watches the vast majority of the things I say and read, and is a supporter of not all, but a lot of my views, and that's very nice, and I welcome her support. But I think she would be the first to tell you that
she supports the things that you say about her generation?
I don't want to speak for her, but I think she would say that we respect and listen to the elderly have lessons to offer us about their life experiences, moral clarity and guidance.
Yes.
But that a younger generation of leadership should take over, and that we have balanced the scales a little bit unfairly to the younger people who are paying into an entitlement system that mainly benefits elderly people, and that is going to be unsustainable on its financial footholds by the time people younger than me get to be that age. So
we need to have our grandmas sit here and do this version of this show.
All right, next up, conversations of Trump trying to run for a third term in 2028 are coming up once again. More on that next.